that's my favorite thing.
As the tournament travelled to Africa for the first time, Ver Magnusson was determined to regain his title. That failure 2 years earlier in his home country seemed to push the heir to Sigmarsson's crown onto new heights.
Everything came down to the stones. 3 guys could win, and I win the stones.
This one is for the title. 29 seconds, Herbal, Kiri and the rest are beaten.
Ver Magnusson wasn't without great rivals. Manfred Herbal, Riku Kiri and Gerrit Batenhorst were all worthy opponents, but they all suffered from a common flaw.
Most of the guys have all got their strength and some weaknesses. The trick is to have almost no weaknesses.
After his third title in 1995, Ver Magnusson travelled to Mauritius a year later, knowing that victory would see him match Jean-Paul Sigmarsson's record.
Magnusson again. He must get this one up.
Ready?
To keep
Another faultless display gave Magnusson his 4th and final victory. Of the 19 crowns that had been awarded, 8 had gone to the tiny country of Iceland.
Tremendous.
The guys from Iceland are totally unreal in strength. They come from such a rich genetic history of warriors. They're ready to work with their hands and bust their back every single day and think nothing of it. So to have 4 wins back-to-back, Magnus Ver, Jean-Paul Sigmarsson, to me it's not unexpected.
Iceland has had some great champions in the past, but this man may well go down as the greatest ever.
His strength wasn't that great, but again, his tenacity, his will to win, to stand on that podium and take that trophy was greater than anybody at the competition, and that's why he took 4.
12 years have passed since Ver Magnusson's final victory in Mauritius and the 2008 contest, but one man's career spans that period. In that time, 8 men have claimed the world's strongest man title. In 1998, Magnus Samuelsson was one of them.
Just another day, huh?
It does
Samuelsson looked destined to be a winner from the moment he set foot on the world's strongest man stage back in 1995. The European arm wrestling champion made an instant and brutal impact.
Oh my goodness! Nathan is down.
I probably broken his arm.
The doctor's very quick to attend. No diagnosis yet, of course. There aren't many people around here that will ever forget the pain that came across Nathan's.
Even though it's never, of course, never on purpose and never meant to hurt anybody, but that became kind of my introduction. After that, everybody knew who I was, and that's pretty much how it all started.
Quite a start indeed, but 3 years after that awful introduction, Samuelsson looked favourite to take the title in 1998 as the competition travelled to Morocco.
If you can imagine a deep freezer full of food, that is about the same weight as each of these weights.
Every contest always has a turning point, and I knew if I can beat Ahola in the power stairs, then I'm going to have a big gap on him, because that was an event he was expecting to beat me in.
It's going to be very, very close. Just one more to go. Yes, I think he's got it.
Samuelsson was part of the Scandinavian Revolution that dominated the contest in the late 90s and early 2000s, before the arrival of Mariusz Pudzianowski. This group were friends who enjoyed a camaraderie seldom seen in the sport. The relatively diminutive Jouko Ahola was the first of them to take the title in 1997. He became a 2-time champion in 1999.
Oh, so easy in the end and looking capable of doing even more. 10 big points for Finland.
Jouko was just unbelievable. And, in America, we're saying this guy could play American football because he's so quick, but he also had such incredible strength in the stationary position. Bench pressing, squat lifting, things like that. Jouko was phenomenal, but he was so trim and cut. It was like, this guy can't be the world's strongest man, and he did just enough that year to squeeze in and win the titles.
He was a tough contender to compete against because he never ever gave up. We could have a 10-point lead on him and he will still try to kill himself to catch up, which most people don't.
Scandinavian dominance continued up to and into the new millennium. As the competition started a 2-year residency in Africa, Jouko Achala's countryman, Jani Virtanen, became the latest man from the region to win the title. At the time, the Finn's victory surprised many due to his relatively slight frame.
Virtanen is flying. This is brilliant. Absolutely superb. He's going to be so close. He's done it. He's done it by a whisker. 25 seconds dead. And at last, Jani Virtanen has got the victory he wanted.
Jani is one of the most underestimated strongman champions I've seen. He's phenomenally strong.
Scandinavia have always competed well in World's Strongest Man, and remember that Finland have done it twice in the last 3 years.
He can move extremely well, and that combination is really hard to beat in a strongman contest.
And he's done it! Jani Virtanen is the world's strongest man.
The final member of the Scandinavian crew to take the title was Fenn Karlsen, third in 1998 and second in 99. The Norwegian brought a fantastic blend of showmanship and Viking power to the contest when he won the title in 2001.
It was a great time, and I think the thing that made us be so good were that instead of being enemies with each other, we spent a lot of time together, and we talked training, and we pushed each other forward, so I think we developed each other. Ahola and Sven and Jani, we had so many really tough fights, but then again I've been together with these guys for 10 years, and we're still good friends.
2001 was to be the end of the good times for the Scandinavians. A new power was rising in the east. Mariusz Pudzianowski has been the figurehead of another distinct movement in the sport, as former Eastern Bloc countries like Poland, Ukraine and Lithuania become hotbeds of achievement. In the 6 years since Fenn Karlsen's victory in Zambia, only 2 men have stood between the dominator and the title. And only one has been from the Western Hemisphere.
America will have world's strongest man someday. I will be there.
Amen. The world's strongest man reached the ripe old age of 30 in 2007, and it's a contest that has seen many changes in those 3 decades. Some things, though, remain constant. The seemingly superhuman feats of strength, the giant muscles and the intensity of the contestants. Charleston, West Virginia, venue for the 2008 final and home to Phil Pfister, the most successful American strongman since Bill Kazmaier, and the only non-European to wrestle the crown for Mariusz Pudzianowski. Pfister became world's strongest man in 2006 in Sanya, China, in one of the most dramatic finals in the competition's history.
You know, the 06 final really could not have been written any better. It was really just kind of a fairy tale contest for me. You know, Mariusz is a fantastic athlete. It's unbelievable. And maybe I caught him napping just a bit, but I was definitely the best man in 06. Athletes sort of talk about the flow and talk about being in the zone, and when everything's going just right, you have these sort of out-of-body experiences as you're competing.
After 4 straight event wins, Pfister knew that victory in the Atlas Stones would give him the title.
You know, it was just a little bit wet out, so I approached the first stone very cautiously. I didn't want to slip and fall. Kind of cool, calm, and collect, because I knew that it didn't matter how fast you put up the first 4. It only mattered how fast the last one went on the platform. So I could actually hear Mariusz's stones going in just a moment, just an instant before mine, at least on the first few. At least that's how I heard it, that's how I perceived it. And when I finally got to the 5th one and threw it up there and could see it was going in the hole and glanced over and Mariusz didn't have his in the hole yet, then I knew that I'd won.
That time is going to go, surely. Pfister's got in front, and he's edged it! The
American long wait is over.
After 24 years, America finally had the title back.
The culmination of a decade.